Hey, Jake, did you eat something with like the most onions?
Yeah, you have a lot of onion.
You have extreme onion.
Oh, I did eat extra super onions for lunch. Sorry.
You should eat all the mints.
Games, video 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 games.
It's March 3rd, 2010, and this is the Idle Thumbs Podcast, Episode 3.
I'm Chris Remo.
I'm Steve Gaynor.
And I'm Jake Rodkin, and we're here to talk about video games.
Are you
motherfucker?
Sure? Whoa. I didn't know we were going to do that, but that sounds fine.
That's the plan for this week.
Okay. Well, sure. Let's just do that then.
Yeah.
We keep putting
We
these
weren't
out
even going to do
weekly.
one this week.
We weren't?
Well, we were maybe going to. And
We didn't
then
have explicit plans.
a million things happened.
Yeah. The most extreme 2 days of video game shit happened.
Yeah.
You mean like all the best games were released?
Yeah.
Sorry. No. It wasn't that.
I thought that it was that all the cool things happened.
It was kind of like that.
Right.
Some things were
Except
released,
the
but
opposite.
they were released from employment.
This is true. Who was that, Jake? You want to tell us all about it?
No.
Oh.
Maybe we should turn to Chris Remo, our resident
A video game reporter.
video game
Oh,
journalist.
really? I'm not sure I need to actually tell people this, but
Come on, Boost Remo. I
Let's
want
hear
to
the
hear
facts, the latest news.
All right, in our news segment on Idle Thumbs, everyone's favorite thing that we do on this
breaking
podcast.
news.
Idle
Infinity
news.
Ward's two of their founders, Jason West and Vince Zampella, were fired by Activision for reasons.
Under extreme intriguing circumstances.
Yeah.
It was the most
Insubordination was alleged.
yeah, but I mean, like, just watching this shit online over the last 2 days has been the most like slow drip, like high tension, just sort of like unveiling of this
It's been
saga.
reported that secret bouncers were spotted.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
Secret
Like
bouncers.
it started with like mysterious happenings at Infinity Ward. The two guys that run the company haven't been seen for the day, and their security guys that showed up for no
Like non-uniformed, conspicuous security
Right.
men who would
Why are
refuse
you
to
here?
say anything.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, and yeah, and then,
I think
and then
you do.
And the next thing that comes up is one of the guys in the meeting confirms that he no longer works at Infinity Ward.
Via Facebook
Yeah, and then
LinkedIn.
there's
and LinkedIn.
yeah, and then there's SEC filings of insubordination. It's just like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
And then the fucking
capper
the
here.
capper is like,
I don't know the capper.
Activision announces that.
Oh, it's a new game, The Capper,
Oh yeah.
developed by
man.
Infinity Ward.
That's all right.
Yeah.
So the two guys
It's a Facebook game.
that founded and ran Infinity Ward are gone, and then the same day, like tonight, Activision announces that Sledgehammer Games, the new studio that they
I
founded
saw
by
this.
taking the two Visceral games guys,
Yeah.
is going to do the next Call of Duty after Treyarch. So it's like
Those two guys should be really worried for about 9 years from now. They should mark their calendars.
Yeah. Well, because when I saw that last part, it was just like looking at a totally,
The end game.
Yeah, like a semi-innocuous chessboard, and then like suddenly a checkmate.
I want to see like the
Jesus.
StarCraft replay of this, where you can scrub back and forth and like slow down the time scale.
Yeah.
And,
Right.
like,
Well, because
You
it's
just see the,
yeah,
right.
yeah, exactly.
When the fog of war lifts, and then
Right.
you see the Sledgehammer Games base like
Yeah.
on the other side of the map, and like oh my god.
Yeah, it's just it's amazing to me because it's like, okay, we take these two prominent guys from EA, have them start a new thing. Don't really talk about it that much. They just start a new thing. It's an existing IP. They're gonna work on existing IP. We're not really gonna talk about it anyway. So we're gonna need to fire these two guys. All right. By the way, that whole thing that you didn't really remember, it's like a classic like
sleight of hand
movie
action.
reveal.
Yeah.
It's like an M. Night Shyamalan thing.
Shamalama ding dong.
It's just like, oh, it all makes sense. It's that shit is
Right, yeah, in your mind, it's the,
Machiavellian. It's amazing.
the usual
You-
suspects. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Well, see, this is why we need the replay with like full omniscience, because we need to know how early those guys were in on this specific.
right, that's when you
like,
see the two units of those guys walk into the nondescript building and it goes patink and turns into their thing, and when the guy in the suit walks in and walks out with the contract, and that's it.
right.
Yeah.
Like, were those guys in on this from the beginning, or
Well,
what?
I mean, I'll bet. I mean, the way I read it was that Activision basically from the moment they decided to take those guys and have them set up a new shop, for doing it as the initial steps of a plan to get rid of the guys in charge of Infinity Ward and take Call of Duty over.
On the whole time.
Yeah, I don't know how. I have no idea what those guys' involvement in it was, but it's just like, so that's what Activision was doing this entire time. It's amazing.
Activision just they're like spewing maniacally of like, all right, well, we've decided that all of our money making studios are too big for their britches, so we'll just flush them all the fuck away.
Red Octane, see you later. Neversoft, we're gonna chop you in half.
Right. Infinity Ward, well, decapitated.
Yeah.
What? I mean, and then Blizzard's just like, well, what? We have $800 billion. Stay the fuck away.
That's about what Infinity Ward was saying like last week.
Well, it's funny actually. In Activision's like final piece that outlined that sort of the curtain was drawn with their latest press release. They talked about how they plan to turn Call of Duty into a Blizzard-like franchise where they have this worldwide reach and like all this online infrastructure and all of these services.
Would they only put out one Call of Duty game every like 4 years then? I find that part hard to believe.
No, that is not what they mean. I mean, they're talking about...
They don't mean making a good game rarely that sells forever.
No, they're talking about how like World of Warcraft is in China because Blizzard invested all this money into making like culture-specific elements of the game and all that. I mean, they're talking about this idea of a global reach, whereas I assume Call of Duty is mainly a Western kind of audience. Like, I think what they're saying is they're going to try to get that Blizzard effect of this incredible worldwide appeal.
And the company that's been making them hundreds of millions of dollars is not the place where that will be happening, apparently.
Yeah, I guess it's Treyarch and Sledgehammer. So, that's what happened.
Yeah, it was crazy that, I mean, this has been pointed out probably everywhere in the entire world, but Kotick gave that DICE talk where it's like, I'm a great guy and I love games. Murder everyone.
We even forgot to mention in our like chess game analogy here, Kotick, that was part of the sleight of hand, was like him being
Kotick
at DICE.
Like dropping a big smoke bomb at DICE of like
the flashbang is like blinding everyone for about it.
He's like, hey, we really
and the smoke, you just sort of saw the twirl of his cape whip through it as he darted out of DICE basically. And escaped in his weather machine or whatever.
His balloon.
Yeah.
That shit is amazing. Yeah, I wonder how they staff these places. Like, how do you like? You
can't see Steve's face right now. It's bewilderment and wonderment. And
I don't know. It's just like, I don't know.
You
see this shit happen to people that work for this organization, and it's just like, how do more people dive into it? Like, I don't know. Okay, it's just
the crazy thing is, it's not even just any one company. It's astonishing how much this industry just churns through. I mean, it's not like you're employed at a place like this isn't working, so we're going to like change our strategy. It's just like, well, this isn't working right now for like the last 6 months. See ya, we're cutting the studio in half, destroying the studio, shifting the studio over here, moving this, merging these studios. I mean, it really is sometimes in this industry as though the people really are sort of just pure resources in the traditional sense of the word. I mean, most industries, people are employed on a more regular basis, and then something goes wrong and like the corporation shifts kind of how the things being managed. But games have this weird, unique thing where because they're these studios, ideally a studio is a semi-autonomous unit that kind of works as one thing.
Yeah.
And so it leads to this weird disconnect between the notion of how a corporation with a bunch of divisions is traditionally run and the idea that a studio is supposed to be effectively a kind of its own little like fiefdom. Like, it's a weird, those two things might not actually be as compatible as the industry would like them to be.
Yeah.
Well, no, the number of times that like beefy dudes in polo shirts show up and remove you from your office seems to be fairly high.
Yeah, like the Splatterhouse developer.
Exactly. Yeah, Bottle Rocket.
Yeah, it's just
and they weren't even owned by Namco Bandai.
Yeah.
That was just
but apparently they
we thought that we would send these guys over.
Yeah, apparently Namco had so much money in them that they effectively did, or else they wouldn't have been able to do that. But,
well, they owned the assets that they were making.
Yeah.
I mean, they owned,
Well, and apparently also like the computer hardware, because they were just like...
Oh, really? They bought those for them? Yeah.
Well, I mean, that was part of the report, at least. That was like, so guys showed up and just took all our computers and put them in a truck and drove away.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Video games. You guys ever heard about video games?
I have. You know what's funny is like the other weird puzzle to unlock this week is actually awesome.
Well, then, before we go deep on that, sorry, the kind of opposite of the Activision thing that was announced actually, today, coincidentally, is the indie fund.
You know what? I didn't even see this today.
Really?
I had so much shit to do already.
Okay.
That
So
some news I didn't even see.
I won't talk about it too much. But basically, so on.
Yeah, no, I saw the headline in my inbox, and so I want to know what it is. But,
so all over the internet, the main thing you're seeing is giant corporation, has its way with
Right.
with studios that have made them a lot of money. And the other thing that happened is like John Blow and Ron Carmel and the 2D Boy guys and like a bunch of prominent, successful
dudes who actually had a game that's been a hit,
independent game developers have essentially pooled a bunch of their profits to be a source to fund new indie game projects that don't have funding that they believe could be.
So they're
cool.
essentially a venture capital fund for indies.
Yeah,
that's
right.
awesome.
And it's not. Yeah, it isn't like. They describe themselves as an angel investor organization.
Yeah. Sure.
And so it will just be a thing like, okay, we've all been successful at making indie games. We have connections.
And they
we
can
have
identify
money.
more easily
if we look at your game and
promising.
you need money and we think it could go somewhere, we'll provide you with that. And I assume if it's successful, they take a cut like any normal thing.
Well, you'd have to.
But I mean, I was looking on. It was announced in a number of places, but John Blow had his own, summation of it on his blog, and it was just sort of like we were like, hey, we've all been successful and have money. We want more people to be able to do that. Let's just kind of do a thing.
Yeah, that's great.
And it seems like great things could come out of it. It's pretty awesome.
That's totally cool.
Yeah.
I mean, games are an area where, in my job I cover games, but because it's sort of tangentially related, I also end up frequently at least looking into, if not necessarily writing a lot about, the Silicon Valley tech community. And it's, that and social games are now part of that now too. And they're really good at getting angel investment, at getting venture capital, at getting equity funding. Like all those social game companies they act like tech startups and they're really good at getting funding. But the kind of games that we talk about and play have been traditionally terrible at getting any kind of...
It's because they don't fall into the same funding model. I think we were talking about this a couple days ago.
Yeah.
It's just those guys, when you're a game developer, you can't publicly release a beta and then iterate on that and get customers and stuff.
Right. But indie games are closer to that. Particularly depending on the type of game they are. They're certainly smaller scale. And if there's dudes who actually have that, because one of the reasons venture capital funds are successful in the tech area is because a lot of the partners in there are guys who were also successful in that industry. And if you get guys like John Blow and Ron Carmel and Kyle Gabler, they know what's up and they know how to identify a thing. That's rad.
Best. And then meanwhile, Bobby Kotick his head is spinning around and he's spewing flames and oil.
Yeah, he's just kind of in the background.
Gears and stuff popping out of him.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's a robot?
I think
is he Robotnik, perhaps?
He's Bobby Kotick-Robotnik-Goldgoldname.
Good one, Jake.
Thanks. I don't know. Just hearing all of that crazy shit that was going on with Activision. Oh, including also just arbitrarily the little tiniest cherry on top is that they shut down that King's Quest fan game that Vivendi had okayed.
That probably 2,000 people in the world had heard of before this week.
Yeah.
It's
you will cancel it. What? No.
Yeah.
Well, they just figured, they couldn't let that fly if they were going to do this. They're getting warmed up.
It's to extend the strategy game analogy even further, to belabor it. It's like when you're fucking demolishing your opponent to such an extent that you have more resources than you know what to do with. And it's I guess I'll just kind of
these weird drones out here to
build a bunch of dudes to go fucking kill that thing over there. Who cares?
We'll just harvest this shit. Why not?
Whatever.
Yeah, I was saying to you, Chris, I can't help but continuously picture Bobby Kotick as Ian Holm in Alien, just sort of fidgeting and just spewing weird milk and chains of organic beads out of himself as he's just firing everyone uncontrollably.
Except he's not dying. I mean,
well, yeah, I guess. I mean, he's blatantly not, but this is all must be the most calculated shit in the world.
If that scene just went on half an hour, is this going to stop anytime soon? I'm scared.
Just from the outside, it seems like that guy is just going crazy and is a short-circuiting robot. But since he's the CEO of a multi-billion-dollar multinational corporation, people are just oh shit. Kotick says, decapitate Infinity Ward. Kotick says, shut down Guitar Hero. We gotta do it. And then he's just cannot control self. Maybe that's not happening, but maybe he's just whirling around his office just with papers flying everywhere.
His dice speech was just one more weird malfunction.
Right, well, that's just he starts overheating during that, oh shit, his vitals are off the charts.
GLaDOS at the end of Portal.
Right, exactly. Oh man, that was a seg accidentally.
Oh man, speaking of Portal.
Segging it.
Capping it. The capper. Seg. Portal has a thing.
What's that boost?
I don't know. I'm
Are you
having
trying to
a
make
weird Kotick
Are you
moment
trying to
here.
make a
I don't know.
seg?
I'm
Boost
spewing
Remo?
milk out of my nose.
So there's a portal arg.
Yeah, Jake, you're by far the most familiar with this.
I
out of
was
all of
excited
us.
by the portal arg.
Yeah, this combines two
This was
things
like,
that
by the way,
obviously
these-
blow your
yeah,
mind, which
these were
are
both
community
going on
shit
last
and
night.
Valve.
I love Valve and I love community shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the same time as Infinity Ward was exploding, Valve was deploying satellite images through audio files inside radios that they patched into Portal without telling anyone.
Well, my favorite part is that gamers had their choice of which insane video game industry saga to follow.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
depending on
You can
how
choose the light path or
pissed
the dark
off you
path.
want to be. Yeah, like if you're really in a cynical mood,
Yeah.
you've got this. And then if you're like in a really excited kind of thing, you can follow what Jake was into.
Yeah, I was following the Infinity Ward thing as well, but I was more excited about the thing that wasn't the ruination of all.
Yeah. And it started with just a patch to Portal,
Yeah.
like yesterday or the day before, that just had one patch note.
Yeah, the release notes were like updated radio frequencies to be in like compliance with FCC regulations or something like that.
And then
yeah.
added achievement. And then the achievement description was ... question mark.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people who listen to this have already followed this, but for those who haven't, that's basically how we already described
Did
it.
they
But
update the 360 one as well?
People
doubt
on the
that,
forums
kind of.
kept saying,
I'm
"Oh,
sure
maybe
people
my Xbox or
figured-
PS3 version of this," and then everyone it was just always followed by "ha ha 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 ha" for like
Okay,
3
well, I don't
posts.
know. I mean,
I don't think.
they can
I mean,
they have to. There's a lot of regulations for shit like that on
Basically,
consoles,
yeah, I mean, this-
and it costs you a lot of money to do that shit. So
between this Portal stuff and I mean, I don't know if we should get into any details of what it is, other than I mean, people think
I
that
don't even know how to summarize.
there are
there are
audio signals that through a certain method of decoding actually contained image data, which then
well, I mean, we can talk about the whole thing.
yeah, I mean, if you string it all together, it's a BBS.
Well, no, I mean the initial way that you get that stuff is kind of interesting because they were like those radios,
Right, the new like radio challenge game that's
Yeah.
inside Portal now.
Yeah, so there were radios, if I'm not mistaken, in the world already, like sitting around playing.
I think
Well, most of them
radios
were
were
added
added in.
Yeah, most of them
Yeah.
were added in.
So when you came across them, normally they were just playing the little samba version of the theme song. But when you picked them up and carried them around to a certain location in the level, it would start playing like this radio signal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that you
Sometimes there's Morse
decoded.
code and
there's like
sometimes
a light
yeah.
it's
that
like
was
a
red and then
weird-
it turns green when it gets to a certain area. Then it
Yeah.
starts emitting either static, which contains image data, or weird audio, or Morse code. The best of the Morse codes is
Yeah.
one that translates to beep, 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 beep.
Those words.
etc. Yeah, the luxury phrase beep as you decode it's BEEP space whatever.
Yeah.
And then those long and short beeps decode down to LOL, which is hilarious.
Funniest goddamn
Just,
thing ever.
oh, you have to double decode Morse code and then you just get lol.
Yep.
And yeah, there's all this crazy stuff where all the different satellite images decode down to a phone number, which if you called, you would just hear a modem. So then people dialed it up with a modem running a terminal emulator, and it's a BBS. And the notion is now that the internet
That shit's
is
ridiculous.
the internet is exploring the data contents
Yeah.
of a backup of GLaDOS from 1997, and it's spewing like ASCII art pictures and text about Aperture Laboratories and stuff. It's really good.
It's amazing.
It's a really nicely done
fucking
thing.
incredible.
And the fact
And then
that
one of the logins to that is this guy Cave Johnson.
yeah, he was also
who's got the most amazing portrait ever, like just classic sort of
Cave Johnson.
Eisenhower era. What?
Oh, he was mentioned in earlier stuff as
Yeah,
well. I think
exactly.
C.
That's
Johnson
like,
is
yeah.
the login to the old
Right.
Aperture Sciences
Right.
like little viral site from Portal 1.
Yeah.
Yep.
This is like that,
all
except
ties
10,000 times more involved.
Yeah,
And
and
it's stealth deployed in a 2.5-year-old game.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Best.
There
And there was also a date in there somewhere of March 11th, I think, which is the day.
it's 3.11. Everyone it's GLaDOS's version is GLaDOS 3.11 and everyone's like, "Oh, it's March 11th, it's Valve." Maybe it is that. Maybe that's such a weird conclusion to jump to, given that Windows 3.11 is the most common like shorthand
true.
for outdated operating system. But maybe it means that Valve is going to go crazy at GDC.
I mean, they've got to be announcing something quite soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So GDC is the next thing.
Portal 2.
And then
Could it be?
there might be Half-Life Episode 3 stuff in there as well, given that
I'm guessing it's more Portal 2.
I'm sure that it is, but I want it to be Episode 3 more.
I do too, but whatever.
There's some kind of... People are guessing maybe Portal 2 and Episode 3 are the same thing.
That would be incredible, but I don't think it's going to happen. But, I mean, it would be amazing. That
All-
would be
all-
very-
Half-Life 2, Portal 2, Episode 3, Half-Life Episode, Portal, Fortress 2, for
the
Dead,
capper.
Oh, Jesus.
the Capper Strike.
They just put the portal gun into both Half-Life 2 Episode 3 and TF2.
Right, it's like the engineer update is the portal gun.
Yeah. The entirety of Team Fortress is a weird, like, social experiment conducted by
the camera
Aperture Science.
zooms out.
Yeah.
It's also inside a lab. The other thing that Valve is doing that I thought was cool is the Left 4 Dead DLC.
Oh, yeah, that's really cool.
Where the Left 4 Dead 2 DLC is now the story of the Left 4 Dead 1 characters ending up in Louisiana with the Left 4 Dead 2 guys. And then a month after that, Left 4 Dead 1 is getting DLC, which is the narrative bridge of how the Left 4 Dead 1 characters end up. So Valve is making good on the fact that they own the entire platform from the store to the
universe.
management.
No, it's true. In this industry, franchise usually just means we put one out constantly, which, I mean, it's just series usually. I mean, Valve's doing a much more interesting thing here, which is constantly going back and forth all of a sudden out of nowhere.
I think it is because they control the infrastructure for all this stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very much the same way that Apple Computer is allowed to sort of deliver such a unified experience across the hardware, the software, the storefront, the shopping experience of buying the equipment. Yeah, Valve is the only game company that really has that isn't a first-party manufacturer.
No, they can guarantee that every single copy or every single PC copy of Portal ever, like as long as you go online, it will. There are people for whom that's a big downside. It's like Valve is always monitoring my stuff, but the upside to it is, I mean, like any other developer could conceivably build this stuff into their software. But the way that Valve has done it, it's so the infrastructure is so present and solid that they can just Badoop, radios now emit things in every level. Like, what? Yeah, no, it's true. It happened. I mean, it was totally transparent to me. Like, I went over to see if my portal was updated, and it was just already there. I mean, it's just weird. I mean, and as you say, some people don't like that, but regardless, it's there, and it's an interesting use of it. Yeah, since it is there,
it's cool.
Yeah, super crazy.
So Valve is hardcore.
It makes me really pleased. No one does this sort of stuff, and they're doing it to the max, including a modem bulletin board.
Yeah.
That's sweet. Incredible. Yeah. Watching all this shit unfold in real time last night, I wasn't paying that close attention to it, but even just checking on a couple forum threads every once in a while, it was just like, oh my God. And Jake was seeding me all of this, Jake, you were constantly linking me stuff, which was blowing my mind.
It's because you were sadly F5ing Infinity Ward news, and I was F5ing Portal ARG.
Yeah.
And Steve was looking at the indie fund, and that was today.
Yeah.
You were just sitting around.
I was at work making stuff last night.
Oh, man.
We were all doing productive things.
Yeah. And God, this isn't like interesting or newsworthy in particular today, but I also just coincidentally went to an Ubisoft press event today and played a bunch of Splinter Cell Conviction.
Yeah. You hung out with your good buddy, Pat Redding.
I did, although I didn't interview him again because I think a 7-page interview in the last couple of weeks is probably enough for a while.
That was a good interview, though.
Yeah, thank you. I did interview the creative director of the game today, though.
Oh.
So that was cool.
Who is it?
It's a French name that I can't quite call to mind.
You can edit that in.
Yeah.
It's Maxime Bellin.
But no, he was the creative director of Splinter Cell Conviction.
iPhone.
He was he's a cool guy.
Fine. Never mind. Yeah.
And we talked a lot about kind of why the game was rebooted. Mm-hmm. And it was interesting because he said when he came on, they were still trying to do the Hobo Sam. If you guys remember that, which I personally really liked.
There was Hobo Sam, and also
he was beating people up in a coffee shop.
Yeah.
Both Max Payne and Sam Fisher went straied up hobo. So that was weird.
And the guy from Condemned, which is
That's
much
true,
less prominent.
But I'm more interested in Hobo Sam and Hobo Max.
Well, because they're third person, so you can see them in all their. I
was more referring to
Sam and Max.
Oh.
See, because I work at Telltale Games on Sam and Max games.
Oh wow!
And in the upcoming Sam and Max game, they're hobos.
Oh
wow!
Sam Fisher and Max Payne. Sam and Max Freelance Police are in fact just regular detectives.
Oh, okay. All right.
Oh man, close call.
There's about to be even more revelations.
Yeah.
Crazy announcements, but
no, it's just Telltale Games making a tie-in game with Sam Fisher and Max Payne. Nothing big there.
Yeah. Normal thing. Licenses.
But it was, and so he talked about how he basically came onto the project. He was on Assassin's Creed before, and he came on.
He would be on that.
Yeah, and he worked for about 2 months. There was, I guess, at Ubisoft Montreal, they were unable to get Hobo Sam, the game, ever into like a really solid kind of well-rounded form. And so they worked on it for 2 months, and eventually he's just like, this is not working. Like, we're just going to have to start over and do another thing. So
he's back to just being Black Ops guy?
No, well, he's
a
sort
freelance
of, he's
dude.
a freelance
he's basically
guy now,
using his skills to, is he fighting back against Third Echelon? Or is it some other organization?
Yeah, I think so, yes, because it seems like one of those situations where he's working with some people from Third Echelon, but also fighting against the organization.
Right. It's like a bunch of guys from that company that were all like, fuck this company, and went off to be a Splinter Cell of some nature. Yeah.
Fortunately,
I don't know. That's cool.
He still has a top hat with the lid that's popped off comedically and eats beans out of a can.
Yeah.
So they kept that
with a
stuff
shrimp
in.
fork.
Yeah, with a shrimp fork. Yeah. And his cigar, the front of it has sort of exploded comedically.
Yeah.
And like peeled back, like
sort of
like a gun that's misfired.
Well, he's got an oily cravat
it up
on as well.
out of an ashtray.
Right. Yeah. And he sort of waggled it around. This'll do.
Yeah. So it seems so yeah. And then the new thing is it's like a stealth. It's more of like from what I've seen is kind of like you set up encounters with stealth, and then the actual encounters are either over instantly because you tagged all the guys and killed them in 1 second, or they're sort of more of a straight up action shootout thing.
Sort of. You in practice, at least for me, you only earn the right or earn the ability to perform those instant executions if you knock out a guy in hand to hand. So if you want to play that way, you have to constantly be kind of closing the distance.
Yeah.
I did not do that at all. It was actually really hilarious. I played through a big section of single player today, and I was just like slowly lining up silenced pistol headshots on every single guy, like individually. And the guy, like
so it's exactly like Splinter Cell.
Well, but I mean, the point
that's exactly how I played every Splinter Cell.
Yeah, but you in this game, he was hovering behind me, and he's like, you can get the exit. No. If you find it interesting, you can hit them in hand-to-hand combat, and then you could do an execution. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And then I would play like 15 more minutes of just like, pew, pew. And he's like, well, there's a great opportunity right there. There's a guy just right on the other side of the window if you want. It's like, no, I can see him. I'll just shoot him through the thing. And it was so funny because he was clearly like, it was killing him that I wasn't using. But I talked to him later, and he's like, no, I mean, it's cool that we're able to support different ways. But I think for a press event, he probably wanted the journalists to see there.
Let's see the cool shit.
And it was funny, too.
But it's awesome you played it the way you probably would have at home.
Exactly. No, it was nice. One of the reasons I did it is because I wanted to see if the game could stand. Like, it's because I mean, if the level design is great.
If they really wanted to force that, that doing the shit the way they wanted you to, they probably could have with mechanics, you know, like whatever, you don't have your own guns, you can only use ones that you steal off of guys, and they only have a couple bullets in them, so you have to do hand to hand a lot, like whatever. So it's pretty cool that they didn't, because that means you can just be 100% stealth and never even get close to anybody, right? So but I mean, I figure that I don't know, did you find that falls apart when you come into like a room, like a big room full of like 5 patrolling guys?
Yeah, and they do throw in a couple of those there. Usually there are, I mean, it seems like in this game, maybe more than some Splinter Cells, in those cases you can kind of bring out your shotgun but I
mean, that was the thing that was semi-worrying to me, is I saw like either video or a screenshot that was like, the shit was projected in the world, and it was like move from cover to cover, and it looked like it was setting up a Gears of War encounter.
There's nothing. No, I mean, you really cannot take much damage. Like whenever I killed a bunch of guys with a shotgun, it was by, basically shooting them through cover, and then like essentially trying to, because it puts a little ghost in the world where your last known position is, and they will come and flank you to your last known position. The cool thing about that is it allows you to be very conscious of where you're misleading them and set up these like deceptions. It's cool. It seems like a really good.
No, that's the thing, is it seems like it'll be really good. I get the impression that the stuff that would be semi-worrying, like what I just voiced, would have been obvious to them, and they're trying to design around that stuff. So I'm looking forward to it. I mean, it seems like they're doing a lot of really interesting stuff with the mechanics to say, how can we make this kind of semi-stealth, like kind of aggro stealth experience feel like a new thing, like actually support the thing they're looking for with new mechanics, as opposed to just doing more established Splinter Cell. It could be really interesting.
I mean, it's clear that the reason this game went wrong in the first place before they started over was because, for sure, from the beginning, they wanted to do something different with this game. It just took them a while to figure out exactly what.
Right.
But what was funny is that I also, after that, I played a bunch of co-op with just some other random journalist who was there. and we could not have been more opposite in our playstyle. Like he was absolutely like, every single encounter was setting up executions.
Yeah.
And so the whole, like for the first half, it was just both of us being the most asshole-ish kill stealers imaginable, because he would be setting up his executions and then I would just shoot the guy in the head, and then I would be lining up my shot at the head and he would just charge forward and punch the guy in the face. And so we, like,
Man, so that is a retarded buddy cop movie.
yeah, exactly.
That was one of my favorite things about co-op in the old Splinter Cell was like guys have hearing, you know, but they if you're being quiet, they don't hear you. And there were some parts where there'd just be a guy patrolling up and down like a really long hallway, and there were like separate animations for doing a melee attack on a guy like while you're sprinting towards him, you know. So like there was at least this one great situation where there's like a doorway and then a pretty long hallway that has a long ass flight of stairs at the end of it, and a guy just patrolling up and down it. So I wait until he was almost at the end, right at the top of the stairs, and I just sprinted towards him full speed, and like I get about halfway to him and he's like, huh, and like turns around just in time to see me just like open hand smash his face like it, and he just goes toppling down the stairs.
Oh man,
oh, it's so good.
great.
You can't do that shit often because you know it only works in very specific environments, you know. But the fact that that shit sometimes happens.
Right.
Made me
that's
really
great.
happy.
And what sound did the guard make?
I don't know. Like, I don't know.
No, I mean, when he saw you.
Oh, he was like, huh? I don't remember. What?
You did.
He was like, boost? Boost Remo?
Yeah, that's what he was
like.
Oh,
man, it was me.
Well,
I was your player character.
That was my gamer tag.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They could read that
That's
and then
advanced,
they say
dude.
it. Yeah. Boost Remo. Is that you? Oh, shit. They actually do. I mean, the kind of crazy thing they do have, I don't know if they're doing this in Conviction at all. Well, in Chaos Theory, anyway, when you were talking through the mic to your buddy, I think you could turn this on and off. But
the guys would hear your
the louder you were talking to your buddy, well, no, it was actually based on the volume of your voice.
Right, but I mean, it would come out of your headset, or out of the character's headset.
Yeah, so it would come from the character's location, and it was in a radius, obviously. And the louder you talk, the wider the radius was. So if a guy was nearby, you could literally like whisper to your friend, and he wouldn't hear you. And so there were some great things where like me and my friend would be on like either side of a door, and there's a guy with his back to the door, like right there, you know. And we'd both be waiting, but we didn't know who was like supposed to jump out and get him. So it'd be like, what are you waiting for? Get him. And the guy goes like, huh? And turns around and you're like, oh shit. And we both like jump out and just start laying into him with our machine guns.
Yeah.
It's so good. Like the computer man heard me when I said it. That's so weird.
That is pretty amazing. That's totally awesome.
Anyway, I interrupted a lot of
what
you were saying.
I had said most of what I was going to say. I was just going to, as the level progressed, I don't know if this was like the first co-op mission or from the middle of the game or what, but as it progressed, the level, sort of the number of enemies and the layout sort of increased in complexity to the point that it sort of organically forced us to stop just being dicks to each other and like actually start splitting off more and like taking different angles. Like it was just very well, it was very well designed in a way that really encouraged us to actually play the game in a more satisfying way. Like ultimately satisfying way.
Well, that's cool. So they did sort of, I mean, not force, but encourage you guys to actually play the game the way they intended, sort of.
Right.
But you didn't get that feeling as much in single player?
No, which I think is kind of better because you don't want to just be holding up the other guy. Like if we'd played the game the way I wanted to play in co-op, it probably would have taken forever.
Yeah.
And the other guy would not have been happy with me.
Yeah.
In single player, I'm happy to take however long I want.
Yeah.
If I feel like it. But in
when's
co-op,
that game come out?
Oh, like next month, I think. Maybe in a couple weeks.
I want to play
No, it's going to be good. But
are you sure it's not later? I don't know. But yeah,
I don't know.
I think it's soon. It should be really cool. I will play it co-op with you, Boost Remo.
Nice. I look forward to it. I'm actually really excited about playing co-op.
I'll watch you guys play it maybe.
Hey, no, you can play it with us if you want.
Take a break.
Breaking it, break.
See you after the break, guys.
Break.
Great. Video game. Oh, man.
We're back.
Are we back?
We're back. What's up, Boost?
Before we talk about
Don't call him that.
Other video
Everyone
games,
call him that.
Scoops.
a game Jake hasn't been playing, or I guess you have been playing BioShock 2, sort of.
Yeah.
But
I'm not that far into it. Oh, you got to tell your BioShock 2 story.
I just have a funny, stupid thing that is like specific to me and probably some other people.
It was that time that you were not a lawyer?
It was that time, yeah. When I anal.
Yes.
In BioShock 2, I played on the... I played through it on the PC, and I
played through it on hard?
No, normal.
I played through it on hard.
I'm a normal idiot.
I'm a developer on the game.
Yeah, fair enough.
So hard is not actually hard.
Yeah.
I've played more hours of BioShock 2 than anyone. Single player.
What, anyone? Anyone at your studio?
QA.
I can almost guarantee. Yeah, I mean, outside of the QA department. Yeah, I guess so.
Really?
Well, me and one other designer started at the same time, some months before any other level designers did. So in all likelihood, I am one of the 2 people at the studio, aside from QA, that have played BioShock 2 single player more than anyone else.
A BioShock 2 single player leaderboard, you'd be fucking right up there.
That was based on hours played.
If BioShock 2 single player were in the Olympics,
or was an Xbox Live Arcade title,
if the leaderboards had been tracking since the game was in pre-alpha. Anyway, sorry. What's your story about BioShock?
It's not even a story. It's just a stupid thing.
Oh, what's the stupid thing?
The stupid thing is that when I rebound my keys like immediately because
I did that too.
Yeah, and I changed U's to E where it's F by default.
Yeah.
And so now every single tooltip that pops up in the game is E-something. So it's like I go up to the vending machine and it's like E-buy. Like e-search. The best one is e-search because it sounds like a shitty encyclopedia site or something.
Yeah, or a shitty search engine from 1997.
Right. Yeah. And there's just like a e-press, just a million e-hack, which is pretty good too.
E-hack is good.
So BioShock 2 for me has been this hilarious
it's been like the information superhighway and Rapture.
Like turn of the century era like web interface.
Rapture net,
exactly. So I've been enjoying that. That was my story. At the beginning of the game, I like obsessively took screenshots of all that shit because it was so funny to me. Yeah, I would always forget, and I would see it, and I'm like, e-search? What kind of stupid shit is that? Oh,
E-harvest.
Right.
Or I guess it wouldn't be E. It would be E, whatever the good one is.
E-rescue?
Yeah, E-adopt, I think. Or was it E-rescue? E-rescue was actually in there. Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah. E-adopt is picking them up.
So if you play this game on the PC, I would highly recommend binding U's to E because that shit is hilarious.
And then sometimes it still says F, which is not hilarious. Steve.
Occasionally that occurs.
I couldn't be any less responsible.
That was a boost bind burn.
A boost bind
burn. Oh no, it was
burn.
a scoops bind burn. My bad.
No, I think that was I think that was provided by Boost Bindburn.
Is that my nickname?
That's your full name.
Bindburn?
Boost Bindburn.
Oh man,
that sounds like it would be like a Suda51 character.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah.
Yeah. So in No More Heroes 3, the first mini boss,
Boost Bindburn.
Yeah.
He's a guy in a suit with a mustache that like runs really fast, has rocket boosters on his shoes,
and his keybinds are bad.
Oh. He's constantly messing things
He's really
up because
pissed off about it. Yeah.
Oh, what is he? Oh, I'm trying to.
That's his like call. Like that's his bark when the
these binds are terrible.
Oh man, that means his defenses are down. He doesn't know what to press.
He restored default binds. Boost Bindman.
Boost Bindburn.
Bindman.
Yeah.
This is Idle Thumbs podcast.
That was the entirety of my story. I have nothing else.
I'm here with Boost Bindburn.
Boost, that's me.
So anyway, what other video games? You know, I played a video game.
You would.
Do you guys want to hear about it?
Well, I do.
Video games doesn't want to hear about it.
Video games isn't so fun.
I can take or leave video games.
I played Flotilla.
I played that too.
Yeah. Oh, I saw it and haven't downloaded it yet.
It's all right. It's a game by Blendo Games, which is I think a one-man studio.
Gravity Bone.
Yeah, which is Brendon Chung who made Gravity Bone.
I played Gravity Bone.
And Flotilla.
Jake is so proud to have played.
Yeah.
I
played one. I did it.
Indicate that I know who this is, and I've played his video game. It's great.
Fuck up.
That's your voice. So yeah, it's by Brendon Chung, and it's very much different from Gravity Bone.
Yeah,
I mean,
completely
in
different.
tone, you know, it has a similar
especially
aesthetic,
the music treatment,
but like very, very different mechanics and setting and everything.
Now.
Exactly,
Space.
it's a space game
with animals.
So yeah,
and a Z-axis.
Yeah, so I mean, here comes a description that will make a certain kind of gamer immediately go to blendogames.com and download this. It's a simultaneous turn-based space tactical combat game with a roguelike structure and random encounters.
Yeah,
face boss face Maximus.
All of which is true, and it's pretty sweet.
To put in like sort of, I don't know, more game like reference specific and slightly less accurate terms, it's kind of like like a loose structure of Star Control 2 with some light mechanics of Homeworld.
Yeah, it's like if a Homeworld battle was turn-based instead of real-time and was like 6 ships involved instead of hundreds.
With an explorable universe.
Yeah, because it's got a full
Can we think of any other analogies here?
Well, yeah, we could describe it in terms of
Incredibly nerdy
things that would make Chris Remo enjoy it, which is it's a video game in space.
That's true. That's I'm there. Well, that was basically true. Steve was like, "Oh man, did you see that the guy who made Gravity Bone made like a space game?" And I'm like, "Download
what?
it."
Yep.
$10.
Weird. My computer's already started downloading it from him. Just from this.
It's only $10, by the way. So
yeah. So I mean, and the thing, like, yeah, it's part weird kind of choose your own adventure space exploration thing, and then the combat at first I could see it being pretty daunting. Like it's pretty detailed, and how you actually do it is not like, I feel like I have an unfair advantage.
It's not the most intuitive
the
thing.
horizontal and vertical.
Yeah,
because
the interesting,
it's like playing a level editor.
Yes, exactly.
Yes,
the interesting
exists.
thing about it
Yes.
is that he made, Gravity Bone and his other things in the Source engine. No,
Quake 2.
Gravity Bone is Quake.
Gravity Bone is Quake 2. Maybe the other ones.
His other stuff was Source.
Okay.
Pre Gravity Bone.
Yeah.
Was Source.
So anyway, yeah, and
I
so
see.
basically, it has the exact same controls of you use WASD to move your camera view around, and then move the direction you're looking by holding down a mouse button and looking around. It is exactly like running around
Z-axis
in
with the scroll wheel.
Yeah, so it's exactly like running around in the 3D view of a level editor, which is hilarious. And I bet for some people who aren't me, it was harder to deal with. But yeah, you're just a floating point in space, and you can look at your space battle from any angle, because like the tagline is kind of there is no up in space, and so you can make your ships go over and under and behind guys and actually turn them 360 degrees, because they have armor on the top but not the bottom, so you want to like angle your guys so they don't get hit in the weak points and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, basically how it works is you give every turn you give each of your ships a coordinate and an orientation and a move order, be it move and fire, focus fire, or just move quickly without firing.
And the enemy's doing the same thing at that point.
And the enemy's doing the same thing. And then it all plays out, and you watch it play out, and it kind of...
There's a lot of games in that style.
There are a lot of games in that style, but this one's...
I don't know. There's not an enormous amount of simultaneous
in the
turn-based
strategy genre,
games.
there are some, but...
yeah, like sort of just strategy tactics games have that sort of thing that happens.
Yeah.
But this is more slow-paced than that in the real-time part. Like, it takes... sometimes a couple minutes for a turn to play out.
That's cool.
And
well, it always takes 30 seconds.
Okay,
they're
exactly
30
seconds.
chunks,
Okay,
yeah.
And it plays this nice.
There's that Space Battles game where this sort of thing happens, but with probably less
gratuitous space
tactics.
battles.
Yeah, gratuitous space battles.
And that's AI War. There's that thing too.
That Space Battles game.
That Space
and
Battles.
you watch it play out, and you watch your ships fire these salvos. It actually reminds me more of like naval warfare than any other. Like every space game tries to be that. This is one of the only ones I've played that actually feels like it, because everything moves in this grand slow motion, and you see these big volleys of shots. And if you hit a guy and actually penetrate their armor, it's a huge deal.
Yeah.
You get the little ding, and it takes off
a huge deal. You get this little ding.
But I mean, but since the rest of the
Conceptually,
ambient sound
really stands
is
out.
this very like quiet, slow ambient piano. Not ambient, but this nice piano track.
Yeah.
When you actually do get that hit, it actually does penetrate their armor.
It plays a little hotel check-in desk like ding.
It's like the Quake 3,
bell.
like
the
hit
Quake
the guy
3
with
donk.
the
Yeah.
and it's cool. Like it feels
So it's
like
the
a
best
big
sound
deal.
ever, is what you're saying.
Yes, it is.
It's
If
pretty good
it
sound.
feels the same way as the Quake 3 gonk sound effect,
It has
it's the best.
Yeah, it's not the same sound, but it has that same effect.
I know what
Yeah,
you mean.
it's like ding, and then a whole volley hits a guy's like underside. And it's like ding, ding,
It's
ding,
amazing,
ding, ding, ding,
yeah.
and you're like, yeah. I've had some extremely triumphant feeling.
Oh, for sure.
Victories in that game where it's just like, especially if you get worn down to just like one ship or something, and there's like 3 big ass, like warships still floating around, and you actually maneuver underneath them and just kind of like juke them out and blow them all up. And like I've been sitting on, I'm doing this in my living room, so I'm sitting on my couch, and I like get to the end, and I actually like put my fist up in the air, like
Yeah,
because it
and then
feels,
it freeze frames.
yeah, because it feels like you are fragile enough that how you maneuver your ships is really important, and you can take out superior forces by just being really, really careful with where your ship is during every turn.
And they're often asteroids. You've got cover and stuff like that.
One of the cool things about it, with my experience with it, is that one-man operation, very small indie game. He's self-releasing it on his website and everything, and so like updates are very quick, and like he has very direct contact with the people that are playing his game. So the day it came out, I guess at some point in the past, I didn't even remember this, I had subscribed to his newsletter, so I got an email that was like, Flotilla is out, go check it out. And I saw that the reply to address was Brendon@blendogames.com, so I just replied to it with like, sweet, I will play this game, will it run on my netbook? And he replied, and he was like, I'd be interested to know whether it does run on your netbook. And so like I tried it and blah, blah, blah. We had a little email exchange where I was like, it runs really well, except when there are like these planets and like this sun on the screen, and then it's like 5 FPS, but when I pan away, it's fixed. And he replied with like, oh, in the next patch, I'll just add a flag in the options so you can turn those off. And then like, I played it for that day, went to sleep, got up in the morning, and it's like, a patch is released 1.2. You can now turn off the planets and the options. It's like less than 24 hours. It's super cool, because it's just like there's a dude making this thing. You can actually have an exchange, and like there's no bureaucracy bullshit whatsoever.
Right.
He's just like, I want to patch my game.
No
all right,
PR
I'm going to
schedule,
release a thing.
No certification.
Yeah,
just there. No, I had a similar experience. I played for a while, not going through, and the way it works is you click on the order you give to your ship. And it's, flank move, attack move, focus fire, whatever. Yeah. And I'm like, God, I wish there were keyboard hotkeys for this. And I started writing him an email requesting that. And then I'm like, maybe there already are. And I went back into the game, and it turns out 1, 2, 3, 4 are bound to those. But there was no indication of that anywhere. So I was just like, hey, man, I noticed you have 1, 2, 3, 4 bound to these things. Do you think you could actually put a tooltip in there? And literally, like, that evening, a patch came out. It was 1.4 at that point, and I downloaded it and went in, and there's like documentation on those things. Yeah. It's a super minor change. Awesome. I mean, it's even more minor than yours, but it's just like, great, thanks. That's helpful. Like, now people will know this, and you're cool. Yeah. I wrote, I guess he will hear this because I wrote him, like, after that stuff had been resolved, I wrote him back to be like, hey, it runs great on my netbook now. You're awesome. By the way, I could send some design feedback if you want, because I've played probably like 4 or 5 hours of this thing now. He was like, yeah, totally. So I wrote him this big ass email, with just like stuff that I thought about the campaign and progression and balance and stuff. And he wrote back and he's like, thanks, this stuff is really helpful. I'll keep it in mind as I iterate on stuff. By the way, I love idle thumbs, especially when you guys talk about the wizard. God, I cannot count the number of developer emails I've gotten back where it's about some totally unrelated thing, and then at the bottom it's like P.S. the wizard. So that's always funny. Yeah. So Brendon, your game's pretty sweet. Yeah, you made 2 great games in a row. That was pretty awesome. Yeah. You will not be surprised that I haven't played it yet. You should check it out. It's a little complicated I'll play at first, but when you get your head around it, it's pretty fun. I'll play it. I'll beat it. Oh, this is difficult to do. Yes, I know. I'll beat this random encounter generating. Have you beat Spelunky yet? No. Oh, you can actually finish Spelunky has an end. Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's like Rogue, where you can finish it. It's just really unlikely. It has like worlds and new tile sets and stuff that show up. I know it's because I watched a speed run of Spelunky. Oh, okay. It has Yetis that appear at some point. Yeah. Yeah. It's actually been a strategy week for me because in addition to Flotilla, strategy chocolate. I took a big strategy chocolate this week. Oh. That sounds like a euphemism for something gross. That's what it's supposed to sound like. Oh, it's super gross. It sounds like you meant pooping. Oh man. It's depressing. He meant that he was playing strategy games. Oh, like taking a big strategy delectable, chocolate. Sinful. Artisanal. Tuscan, yes. It's sun-dried. Horrible. Remember last week when I talked about sun-dried strategy chocolate? You son of a bitch. Oh, man. But remember last week when we talked about S.T.A.L.K.E.R. and I talked about the guy committing suicide and how I... In S.T.A.L.K.E.R. And I hit not one of our readers. That wasn't reader mail. No, that was the guy got his ass beat. But, yeah. Oh, God. And I hit the 2 key really hard to bring out my pistol and shoot the guy. Just you don't want to encourage this. Just don't talk about it. Okay. No, what were you going to say? I'm just going to say a lot of people sent us emails or like Steam messages saying, wow, I can't believe you guys didn't make a poo joke when you said the number 2. Oh, yeah. Well, we're better than that. I guess sun-dried strategy chocolate. We just spent the last minute pooping on a poop. Yeah. Shit from the ass. So I just wanted to take this opportunity to mention I'm not going to be on this podcast anymore. Thanks for all the good times. Glad to have you, Steve. We'll be sort of hot seat swapping Chris Kohler, Brad Shoemaker, and Chuck Jordan, and JP LeBreton. Hey. And Max Schaefer, and wow. Ron Gilbert. We got a whole slew of people to replace you waiting in the wings. Yeah, you can't get rid of me that easily. I'm sticking around. Oh, my God. Oh, well, good. This is crazier than everything else that's happened this week. The twists and turns. What other strategy chocolates have you been consuming this week, Chris? Producing. The main... Sampling. My main strategy chocolate production has been of StarCraft II, which I've gotten into much more deeply than I did when I talked about it whenever it was the first time. Jake is shaking his head. Don't be deep into that strategy chocolate. I didn't mean to. It's delectable. It's sinful. Nick and I have been playing
Indulge.
a lot. Nick and I have been playing a lot of 2v2 on BattleNet.
Yeah.
And we
you've been poning noobs, haven't you? You're like climbing the leaderboards.
We were for a while until today, basically. Well, we're still on average rising, but you
guys were number 35 or something, right?
We're up to 14 now. Yeah, we're working our way up our division in the league.
So are you called Team Wizard or anything cool?
There's no team
Discovery Channel.
It's just us. They don't have support for that yet.
They
will
Protoss?
when the game comes
you
out.
play as a Protoss?
I'm a Protoss, and Nick is usually
Nick plays
Zerg.
as a human?
Although Nick is usually Zerg, but he keeps mixing it up.
Yeah.
And usually when we do that, we lose because I'm not good enough to make up for his not knowing as well. Nick's much better than I am, to be clear.
Yeah. But when he goes outside of his comfort
I'm getting
zone,
better, and it's cool playing it in this way where we have to be competitive and we have to learn each other's strategies. And it's been really interesting moving up. We've maintained at least a 50-50 win-loss ratio. Like, I think we've stayed above 50-50, which is pretty good. There are not too many pairs on the ladder that have achieved that, but there's
at least 13 other ones.
It's weird. I guess the ones left mainly are above us, but we're actually hitting the point now where it's actually getting really difficult. We're I think number 14 right now, as I said, and we lost like 3 games in a row tonight before you guys came over. It was really demoralizing.
Jeez. How long does a game take?
Anywhere from like 10 minutes to 30 minutes usually.
Oh, okay.
I mean, if you can get it over quickly at the beginning if you just rush.
Yeah.
I would say we rarely. I think 45 minutes is like the longest we've ever had. That's not that common.
I was just trying to calculate how long you'd been at home before we got here.
Yeah. I would say we played about 2 hours. I played, I think, from about 6 to 8. And but it's been really fun. It's awesome kind of being in on the ground floor and getting in the league when people are still kind of figuring out the ropes to this.
Are the leaderboards going to be wiped when the game goes out?
Well, yeah, Blizzard always regularly starts. Like what happens is it's an actual ladder. So the top 8 are qualifying positions. Mm-hmm. So I mean, if Nick and I make it to the top 8, whenever this cycle ends, we'll actually play in playoffs against other divisions. I mean, I don't think we're going to be able to reach that and maintain it. But
I believe in you, Boost.
Who knows? But it's been really fun.
Breckon and Boost.
It's one of the coolest.
Breckon and Bindburn.
Breckon and Bindburn.
Breckon and
attorneys at law.
Yeah.
LLC.
Yeah.
But it's been really fun. I've never
bringing in the ringer of Nick Breedon.
The ringer, the capper. I've never actually been like really into a game in a competitive way like this before, and I don't know if that'll last, for indefinitely or when the game, as the beta goes on and when the game comes out. But it's really fun right now, and it's cool actually having that feeling like I have that responsibility to sort of hold our rank and like try to improve at the game. And it's basically because Blizzard split it up into all these different leagues, as opposed to just the one ladder full of Korean men who will demolish you.
So you guys are playing in Blitz 2, the league?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And it's just great. It's a great system that they've worked out.
Is that the one where it showed internal video of like guys' organs rupturing and stuff? You remember that?
Was that Backbreaker?
You guys talking about the new
Oh no,
feature?
Blitz. Maybe
I think Blitz 2 was the one where they introduced like surgery footage,
where
basically.
It suddenly goes into like a CSI or like medical show thing where a guy gets crunched and it'll zoom in and show.
Yeah, it shows
organs.
an X-ray of like his like stomach rupturing and juice coming out of it. So, man, I'm surprised I never played that game. So
I'm surprised too.
So yeah, speaking of competitive games, just made me think of Blitz 2 the League.
Nice.
It made me think of it, actually.
It made me think of it when you thought of it and mentioned it.
That's true.
Was there additional strategies?
Yeah, I also played this weekend mainly.
Fucking A.
Well, this was mainly just one day on Saturday, especially, but I played Dawn of War 2.
Oh, yeah.
Warhammer 40k Dawn of War 2. Back in October, I think, Relic released an entirely new mode for the game called Last Stand that I had, even though I'd played the regular multiplayer like for months in early 2009, I had played so much of it that I kind of didn't go back to it when they released this new thing.
Oh, this is the single unit thing?
Yeah, exactly. Basically what it is you each, 3 people, it's always 3 people, each control one single like hero unit, and you basically just have to survive against wave after wave after wave of dude. And what happened was, I guess people on the Thumbs, like the Idle Thumbs forums, they set up multiplayer games with each other all the time for all different games, GTA, Left 4 Dead, Team Fortress.
But it's always like Left 4 Thumb, Grand Thumb Auto,
right,
Dawn of Thumb.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they loved it.
I think Battle Thumb Company is like...
Yes.
And so Thumb Thumpany, I think, was like someone proposed changing it to Battle Thumbs Thumb Thumpany, which I enjoy. But yeah, by the way, anyone who's interested in like, I don't know, playing cool multiplayer games with people who are pretty friendly and
if you sign up
cool.
on the Idle Thumbs forums,
Yeah.
there's a secret additional forum for multiplayer networking.
But I joined up with a couple guys
cool.
to play this Last Stand mode in Dawn of War 2, and there's now this like informal competition between two different teams of Idle Thumbs people on the forums who are now sort of competing against each other for high score in this mode, which is pretty fun.
That's
too,
cool.
So, yeah.
That sounds like that sounds like kind of the best environment to experience this.
Yeah,
thing.
exactly. Well, because I tried it a couple times, like last week or something, just with random people, and it's such a sort of like tight mode. You know,
When it's all friends, it's good.
Exactly. This mode's all about like being on voice chat with some people who are cool, and because it's not like regular Dawn of War or a regular strategy game where you've got all this stuff to do and you've each got to have this very kind of coordinated thing. It's just 3 guys and 3 guys in the game. So I mean,
right.
It's best experience when you're actually like mapped to that, and you can just kind of hang out and mention things and talk about stuff. It was fun. They're all cool guys. So I'd recommend that mode and our forums.
Occasionally, that's what I've definitely found that to be the case, and probably everyone is totally aware of this, but basically playing with a community of people that are interesting and funny and not assholes is often, just can turn a multiplayer experience 180 degrees from I don't really care about this to holy shit, I'm going to play this every night.
Yep, totally.
I weirdly, the only game I've really been into at that level for any extended period of time was the original Gears of War.
Right, I remember when you were into that.
Yeah, it was cool because, like, you get way more drama out of that when people are actually, like, paying attention and talking with you and stuff. And that game, honestly, like, when everybody uses voice chat, it can have an incredible amount of drama to a single round, especially if you don't play, like, it's because the entire thing is 4 versus 4, and in most or all of the modes that I can remember, it was elimination, so you didn't respawn. And so, there were crazy ass, just like high drama situations where you can't hear, anyone on your team when they're dead. So, you're doing 4v4.
One guy left.
Yeah. And like, I'm for all the guys die and you don't really know it. Like, so I'm by myself. I don't know where the enemies are. I don't know how many there
all
are.
Of a sudden.
And I'm just like, hello? Oh fuck, God, and so like,
and they can hear you.
They can, yes, yeah, and they can hear each other, obviously, and so
they're all laughing at you.
So
beyond the grave.
So it's just silence, and like I'm up on the high side of one of the maps, and I don't know where the other guys are, the two the enemies, and then I see across the map that the 2 enemies, and they're running like perpendicular to my facing. I have the sniper rifle and they're like single file, so the 2 of them are like running across, and I just line up a sniper shot and they're going full speed, and I take the back guy's head off and he just like crumples, and then like I see the first guy keep running, and then about a second or 2 later stop, turn around and look, and then like keep running into cover, and then like I went over into this corner to try and hide, and he's coming up the side towards me. I have this incredible like this shotgun battle. Like he closes the distance, and we're just like circling each other, like rolling and doing like this dogfight with shotguns. And I see him just start to reload, and I'm out of shotgun shells as well. And I switch to my sniper rifle from like 20 feet away and just no scope him in the chest and like drop him. And the great thing is, it's been radio silence that entire time, and then you get into the lobby at the end, and you just hear like, "Oh shit! Did you see that?" Yeah. Anyway, so
that's awesome.
That kind of shit is really great.
No, that's the best. And actually, it's funny you mentioned that kind of moment where that whittling down of the team, because Last Stand in Dawn of War 2 is effectively that. Like, it's a mode that unless you actually beat every single wave, like, it will end in failure. Like, eventually you'll be overwhelmed by these waves of enemies. And so in every game, there's going to be the last guy who dies. I mean, sometimes you effectively all die at the same time, but you do get these amazing moments in Last Stand where your teammate can revive you if he gets over to you, but if he's already being overwhelmed, it's unlikely that's going to happen. And so you're watching your avatar just kind of lie there on the ground, and then you see the opponent, like your buddy Space Marine or whatever, and
your buddy's Space
Marine, and he'll be under fire by like multiple suppression turrets from different angles, and the animators in this game did a great job, and you can see him just that like heavily taking step after step as he's being slowed down more and more by this withering suppression fire from the front as he just like makes it inch by inch and then makes it over to you and revives you, and it's just like, oh my god, and it's the most incredible thing because you have no idea if he's going to make it, and it just looks like he's not. I mean, it's even great when he doesn't make it because you get the thing where it's like he'll take as many with him as he can, where he just plunges into this big group of guys and just starts slamming them left and right. And then, the big dreadnought will come up and just rip him off the ground and like tear him apart. And it's just the most glorious, like epic demise. And it's just stuff like that in multiplayer games when it happens.
I mean, that's very appropriate for the Warhammer fiction.
Exactly.
Like,
No,
that's
it
very
totally-
much like a
yeah.
Warhammer moment as far as I am familiar with it.
They reproduced it better in this mode than I ever remember it happening in the traditional.
Yeah.
Because whenever they do rendered movies of this universe, it always is the last guy who manages to stave off these incredible numbers before he's eventually overwhelmed. And that, I guess, is basically what they tried to reproduce in the gameplay of The Last Stand, and they did a great job with it.
I mean, it's what all of their like pre-rendered opening cinematics are always about.
Right.
Yeah, that's cool. That's really awesome.
It's super fun. Should we take a break? Do reader mail?
Sure.
All right.
Cool. Video game. And we're back. Oh,
Stuff.
And
boost.
and we're back for reader mail. Gonna read some mail.
It's mail from you, the readers.
It's mail from you, the readers.
Jaren Sfar writes, Torchcry 2 Space Trine. Hey, Thumbs. It saddens me that Idle Thumbs...
Wait, dude, come on.
What?
What?
If an email starts that way...
It's the best one.
Oh. Is that what it means?
Yeah. Hey.
Okay. All right, cool. So go ahead. This is the best email.
Okay, here we go. It still saddens me that Idle Thumbs' The Breckoning is over, but Season 2 brings change I can believe in. Did you know that Idle Thumbs' favorite Shinji Mikami worked on the SNES version of Aladdin? I don't know exactly what he did since the in-game credits are bizarre, including one tall knob. The manual lacks a credits section, and the internet credits him with everything from designer to planner to producer. Still, I thought it was worth a mention. Happy thumbing.
I remember hearing or reading about that, and what I read or heard at the time was that he was basically a level designer.
Really?
Because it was a Capcom game. It was like one of the first games he worked on.
That's cool.
Similar to Mickey Mouse in
right.
the Magic Castle or whatever
right,
being David Jaffe's first game, and etc.
That's pretty
And
awesome. I did not know that.
Donald Duck Quackshot being the lead designer / creative director of Assassin's Creed's first game.
Oh, really? Patrice Desilets?
Yep.
Like that's like the Genesis early Virgin Interactive stuff was a lot of the people who made Earthworm Jim.
Mm.
Yep. Everyone makes those games first, apparently.
When
Not
you start
anymore.
in the mid-90s.
When you start in the mid-90s, yep.
Nicholas Perez writes, Stalker is the realest game of all time. Hey, Thumbs, I wanted to share a story about my time with Stalker Call of Pripyat.
Okay.
I checked out the game based on the recommendation of Remo and Scoops, and I'm enjoying it a ton, but I had a really great moment with an early side quest. One of the stalkers in the first town tells you to go get a distant station because there's a strange glowing light there. The mission's pretty easy, and there were no real enemies to speak of, so you go to the station, see the light coming off an artifact, grab it, and I made my way back outside. As I rounded a corner, a stalker came up to me and started telling me about how he really needs the artifact so he can go heal one of his buddies, and I basically told him to fuck off and that I needed it instead. All of a sudden, two dudes come out of nowhere sticking me up and tell me to put away my weapon. I comply, thinking, whatever, no big deal, I'll just fight them off. Once again, the stalker asked me for the artifact, and I say no. As soon as the dialogue box went away, I was gunned down almost instantaneously. As I sat there dumbfounded about what just happened, I realized over the last few years, I've been conditioned that I can fight my way out of almost any situation in FPS, but Stalker says, hey, guess what? In real life, if three dudes have guns on you, you aren't getting out of here alive. Thanks for taking the time to talk about the game on the podcast. I was hesitant about playing it, but I'm having tons of fun. Keep up the great work. Sincerely, Nicholas Perez.
Cool.
That is really awesome.
I had a funny moment like that.
Because in most games it would just be like, all right, I'll just suck down some health packs and go run behind cover and kill all three of these guys. But in Stalker, you can die from like 3 bullets, especially if they're point blank.
And if you get in the head, you're screwed.
Yeah.
I had a funny like Scooby-Doo moment where there was an mission, which is like this big, crazy sort of
it's like a radiation storm.
Yeah,
basically.
It's like an atmospheric thing that makes the air extremely radiated, and you have to reach cover, and if you don't, you take massive damage. And so I was running through. I was doing this mission that required me to stay in a particular place for a long time. I was guarding a guy who was taking measurements of some kind of anomaly.
Like science?
He was a
he was
scientist.
sciencing it up, and I started getting the emission warning where there's this big sort of PA announcement when one's coming. It's like there's an emission coming, you must get into cover. And I'm like, oh God, all right. I think if I remember how much time it takes for an emission to come, I'm pretty sure I can finish this and then run go down to the other side of this hill and then run into this complex that's built into a mountain. And I'm pretty sure I can make it if I just wait until this guy happens. And so I did, and the guy finished and I made it, and the guy started running for cover too. And I just started booking it in the other direction because I figured I could get to this place quicker. And I kind of jumped down over this this edge, and I start running into this building. And there's this. Remember how I told you about the crazy mutant that I watched for there's one of those fucking guys right inside there, and I'm like, oh my God! So I immediately ran the other way into the other part of the complex.
So you had the Han Solo running into the room full of stormtroopers moment,
and running out, and then I ran into this other section, and I'm like, oh, it's okay. I'll just go in there and lose him in this thing. And I went in, and I went in, and I switched on my flashlight, and right as I turned on my flashlight, 5 bandits turned around and were like, what? Get out of here. And just immediately shot me and I died. And it was the most I couldn't help but just laugh because it was such a ludicrous
that's awesome.
Running through the doors in the hotel situation. It was really
I mean,
great.
the thing about that is that especially the fact that the bandits were there. I don't know about the mutant, but that probably arose from the fact that
there was an emission.
All AIs during an emission just go to the nearest cover. So those bandits probably would have been patrolling around. But
exactly.
Just like yourself, everyone was trying to get inside. And they're just these aggro guys that are trying not to get irradiated. And they see this dickhead running. They're like, who the fuck are you?
It was great.
That's good.
So Stalker's a good game.
Events occur in it.
They do occur.
Yes.
Jake agrees.
I agree that an event occurs.
Liz Beadham writes, a video game dream for your triumphant return. Hello, the Idle Thumbs podcast.
Hi.
It's super good to hear you guys again. I had a video game dream just a week or two before the podcast started, and I was sad that I couldn't send it in because it was so bizarre, but now I can, so here it is. I dreamt I was playing Mass Effect 2. The thing is, I'd not played Mass Effect 2 or even 1 when I had the dream, so it was pretty vague and generic. I was in the game playing myself as Shepard, but I was very aware that I was just playing a video game even though there's no interface. I'm running around to big spaceships, shooting aliens in hallways, and talking to NPCs, and having a great time. Eventually, I meet up with someone similar to the Jacob character, and we start exploring an area that's a high-tech sewer or something. We're chatting, and even though I'm not actually interested, I'm being flirty to see how the game reacts. Suddenly, my view switches to third person, and what looked lifelike before now looks like video game graphics, and I realized I must have started a sex cinematic. I don't like sex scenes in games because they're always really awkward, so I sort of mentally sit back, away from my invisible interface, half watching and half just waiting for this to be over so I can get back to shooting things. This leaves me completely unprepared when QuickTime event buttons prompts pop up, superimposed over my vision. Suddenly, water is filling up the tunnels, and the characters embracing each other on screen start to drown. I flail around for an invisible keyboard and start hammering buttons to disentangle them for each other and swim them to safety, while these stuttering animations you always get in button hammering QTEs, but I'm not fast enough and they both die. The button prompt is replaced by an ominous hovering game over text. I wake up slightly horrified by my subconscious, but now I want to see a developer actually put facial QTEs into their sex cinematics because it's such a terrible idea. Also, I bought Mass Effect 2 the next day because it seemed like the right thing to do.
I think possibly she should play Heavy Rain.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there are QTE sex scenes in it.
There
but
probably
they don't
are.
drown, unfortunately.
Yeah, they don't start filling the room with water.
Well, that is also the other part of the premise of that
That's
game.
what happens in Heavy Rain.
A serial killer puts a kid in a thing and it starts raining and you have to save the kid before the thing fills up with rain and he dies.
She thought it was Mass Effect 2, but was dreaming about Heavy Rain.
We were talking about both of them. It's just like synthesis, perfection. Think about it.
This dream happened before the podcast.
Incorrect.
No, I'm right, motherfucker.
It happened before the Idle Thumbs podcast. Anyway, she finishes, thanks for resurrecting the cast. Yeah. It's my favorite because it's the one with the horse bag, Liz.
It's weird,
it's that guy's daughter.
Oh, man.
No! It's weird that the horse bag is Idle Thumbs sort of the tide of Idle Thumbs receded, and the only thing left on shore apparently was the word horse bag. Yeah. Because that was not quoted nearly as often.
No one acknowledged the horse bag until that guy's daughter latched onto it.
What? That guy's daughter latched onto the horse bag?
Yeah.
She's not letting go.
That's weird.
BioShock invades my bathroom. Rapture on campus, writes Robert Hoffman.
Okay.
Hey, gents. As a college student living in a dorm, I've seen and heard a lot of weird shit, but even displays of spooge body art and encounters with men in purple lion suits couldn't prepare me for the surreal experience I had last Saturday night. It was 1 a.m. and I'd been playing BioShock 2 for a few hours. BioShock 2 for a few hours when I realized I'd been neglecting my bladder. Grudgingly pausing the game, I shambled down the hall to tend to my needs. When I reached the door to the men's room, I was brought to an abrupt halt by the sound of running water and the ominous tones of the darkly foreboding tracks that play in BioShock when you're about to be ambushed by splicers.
Were two people having sex in a QTE being drowned in that bathroom?
I stood transfixed in frightened bewilderment in the empty corridor for literally half a minute before my enraptured mind snapped out of its trance and remembered life and video games don't cross over that way, and that I was in fact safe from Craig's genetically devastated abominations. Sure enough, when I entered the room, I discovered my neighbor down the hall was listening to the BioShock 2 soundtrack on the speakers we keep in the bathroom while he took a shower.
That's amazing.
I quickly took care of business and shamefully retreated to my room, physically shaken by the experience. Needless to say, I decided my exhausted mind had probably had enough video games for one night and went to bed soon afterwards. With boundless joy at your triumphant return, fearless Rob the Indomitable. P.S. I was updating the database at my part-time job in the admissions office the other day when I came across a kid with the surname Breckon. It took an effort of will not to delete his application out of spite.
Man, that's an extreme occurrence.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I thought
There
that
was
was going to be
running
some
water,
bullshit story.
and the guy was listening
Yeah.
to the soundtrack as I walked. Yeah, that's incredible. Also, two reader mails in a row where they said triumphant return. I guess
Oh
it's
man,
what
we
happened.
have triumphed.
B, I think that opened up with the phrase splooge body art.
It might have.
Okay.
Steve has a dubious face.
Classy cast.
Email deleted from my memory.
Too late. Yeah.
Yeah.
Damage has been done.
I remember in college, I would do an annoying thing
body
occasionally when we had lockers in our bathroom. Oh god, we had lockers in our bathroom. We had like a shared like bathroom for our whole floor in our dorm, and there were lockers in it. Each of us got one to put our bathroom stuff in, and I took like a standalone little like tape player. Like a little Walkman thing, and hooked it up to a pair of speakers, and would put it in there, and put like a really obnoxious looping sound that I would record onto a tape for like an hour, and put it in there, and take a really heavy gauge like lock, like padlock, and put it over the thing, and put it in there at like 3 a.m. and just let like this like horrible, obnoxious like laughing sound or something just repeat for hours, and eventually at one point they actually had to bring in like facilities people with like the big ass bolt cutters to go through, and I don't think they ever found out who was doing it. So
Now they know.
now they do know.
You're on a famous podcast.
Your
on the
diploma
internet.
is revoked.
If you if you lived in Unit 1 at Berkeley during a certain year, and that happened, sorry. Anyway, reader mail.
Yep.
Wes Martin writes.
That's a pretty cool thing to do in college. It sounds like a college thing to do.
It was a college thing.
That's a college-esque hijink.
Yeah. Wes Martin writes, unintended emotional impacts also a dream. Dear the Thumbs, yo, I was wondering if you guys have ever played a game and experienced something personally the game was not trying to make you feel.
Yes.
Annoyance.
I was incredibly sad after chainsawing through the giant worm in Gears of War 2. I was probably supposed to think, fuck yeah, I just chained through that worm's motherfucking heart. But I felt terrible for doing it. It was just a worm doing a worm thing. I felt nothing for Dom's wife, Maria. The worm, though, I cringed every time I chainsawed the arteries. Any thoughts? P.S. I had a dream last night. You guys, including Hot Scoops, were all my friends at work for some reason, and we were all watching the documentary Planet Earth together. I tried to say something, but no words would come out. The only things that would come out were the little idea thought balloons from Machinarium. Steve could only say a picture of an ice cream cone with 2 scoops of ice cream, so we ended up going to Dairy Queen. Thanks. Wes Martin.
I love Dairy Queen.
Oh, man.
Dairy Queen is great.
Yeah,
I like to eat it anyway.
for sure.
I do actually feel bad when things happen like the description of killing the worm of like,
Yeah.
this is just an animal that's been programmed in this game to just be a wacky animal. And then when you kill it, I'm sad because
Yeah.
it didn't do anything other than, I don't know.
Yeah. I never liked that about like Tomb Raider, how you had to kill like wolves and
lions and
tigers and
shit,
shit.
I think-
and I like that's something I did like about I played partway through Underworld, and I assume for this reason they put in tranq dart gun.
Right.
So you can make them go to sleep instead of killing them. Except they made it mechanically. What's what I'm looking for? Less than optimal. Because they would wake up after a few seconds, or like a minute, or something, or like half a minute, something like that. Like it's
the reason they're doing that is because they're encouraging you to get so legitimately annoyed at these animals that you don't feel
really
bad
kill them. Yeah,
for splattering their brains
with
all over
NPC
the
Animals
temple.
because using the limited amount of AI that we have at this point, you can make an animal that acts like an animal. Like a dude, or is it just because the animal doesn't
Well, it's not
harm
like
you
those games
mechanically?
don't put dudes in them still.
Right, but like the dudes are
there actually are dudes in those games.
Yeah, I know.
Dudes in
That's
those
what I'm
games
saying.
are blatantly still like they have tactics and they have barks, but it's still like shooting a pixel Nazi in Wolfenstein. Whereas like
I think
like
it's
an
I don't know.
animal, it's like a thing.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's really so much about the fidelity. I think it's mostly just the aesthetic of just like
You shot a dog.
yeah, just like I came
You're
in,
out in a jungle area.
yeah, I came into this abandoned ruin, which is just the domain of this family of wolves, and they didn't want me to be here, pretty understandably, so I shotgunned them all. It's sort of
well,
like
the ones that it's the ones that
I don't really
care
wanna
whether
be
you're
that
there or
Lara
not that are
Croft.
the worst. When like you're out, somewhere
like
and-
the like the
like
plant
in a
eating
video game.
yeah,
like the plant eating dinosaurs in Turok.
right, or like the indigenous animals in Far Cry.
Yeah.
The second one.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
you don't like them being there because you can kill them and they don't hurt you?
No, I just sometimes they die not on purpose, and I feel bad.
Yeah, well, that's how it is in Far Cry 2, except extra hilarious because apparently
they will charge in front of your cars.
well, no, apparently how the code, it's seemingly what the status is if an animal comes in contact with a vehicle,
It
no
dies
other state
instantly.
change
Yeah, right.
check. So I've seen like, okay, I parked my Jeep,
Oh,
run away from it, and then I go near like a herd of zebras, and one of them sees me and runs away, and just like beelines into like the side of my parked Jeep and just flops over dead.
Oh, that's the worst.
That's horrible.
It's hilarious, and I've seen it happen many times.
It's commentary.
It's good.
Is it?
Yeah, it's symbolism probably.
Alex Ray writes,
It's the magic of Far Cry 2.
"Who is the better composer?
Oh man,
Peter
write that down on
McConnell
the
or
list.
Michael Land?
Far Cry 2, we talked
Oh
about
man,
it.
we did talk about it.
Is this a LucasArts music composer's question?
I guess it is.
Well, weird.
Jake is not allowed to answer for reason of conflict of interest unless they hire Peter McConnell as well when they acquire and develop Grim Fandango.
Who's the better LucasArts composer? Michael Land, Clint Bajakian, or Peter McConnell?
He didn't include Clint Bajakian.
Oh, I thought you said Clint Bajakian.
I didn't.
Oh, man.
Clint Bajakian.
Burn to Clint Bajakian.
Clint Bajakian.
Steve's,
You just
you're
like that
going
name.
outside the box here. Yeah, you're thinking.
Why would
Oh.
this question be asked of Idle Thumbs?
Sorry, was that what? Can you start over the question?
Who is the better composer, Peter McConnell or Michael Land?
I don't know.
Yeah, I have no answer for that.
Yeah, I don't know. They're both pretty cool. Edmund Tran writes, heavy video games Rodkin. Hello, the Idle Thumbs podcast.
What?
I heard a fact that Video Games Rodkin is actually Heavy Rain director David Cage. I have attached an image for reference. If possible, would you be able to confirm this and ask if the player response satisfied him? Thank you, Ed Tran, Sydney, Australia. Actually, yeah, I can see where this guy's coming from. Here's this documentary evidence.
Damn, that's good.
Yeah.
You're wearing the same shirt.
Whoa! Terrible.
Let me see
Sorry.
the shirt again.
I didn't mean to make heavy rain.
They are wearing the same shirt.
me
Oh
see
my
the
god, I didn't
shirts.
even notice that.
Oh, it's the same shirt.
Oh, this is terrible news.
You're both tilting your head kind of at a little angle.
and we have that same goofy half
kind of
smile.
have your half open smile, yeah.
Yeah.
You have the same hair, like it's
Yep.
all the same.
Congratulations, reader.
And oh man,
You've decoded
the
it.
actual caption on the David Cage picture as he's looking at the camera and quizzically is, "Did that player response satisfy you?" Question mark.
That's my quote.
Oh man, that's Jake's classic phrase. Did that player response satisfy you?
I ask that every week on the Idle Thumbs podcast.
Yeah.
Did it, Jake?
With the depth that might surprise you.
Oh man, yeah. So yes,
We've
a
actually
resounding yes.
actually spent a lot of time setting up a really surprising twist for the climax at the end of the third act, which is
Little does everyone know.
it was David Cage all along.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Can you believe that?
This will be followed by all of us drowning.
As our faces
Yeah.
animate poorly.
That would imply that there was a sex QTE going on. Sorry, that was not on purpose. Terrible. Worst.
Oh.
Whoa, Steve. Sounds.
What?
Sounds.
No, Boost?
Video games.
Strategy chocolate. Savaris writes, controversy in space.
Oh, this is intriguing.
Dear Idle
Shit.
News Podcast Blast, I was wondering if you knew or had any thoughts about BioWare and Mass Effect's lack of male same-sex romances. In both 1 and 2, they've had lesbian choices, but have so far lacked male same-sex choices. Of note, in the first game, Caden and Ashley were both supposed to be bisexual and had dialogue recorded and animations done, but were cut and left on the disc for oh, really? I didn't even know that. And left on the disc for enterprising people to find. Likewise, in the second game, choices were cut, specifically Thane for males. This is quite a big topic on the BioWare forums at the moment and makes a lot of people sad, as it is something that many people wanted. BioWare does listen to their fans in some cases, as fan reaction was the reason Tolly and Garrus became love interests in 2. Anyway, I wanted to know how you all felt about this topic, if anything. Keep blasting at pods, Soren.
I think they realized that hetero-American dudes would be playing this game.
Yeah, probably. I think it's lame, though.
Someone else told me specifically that they had looked this up and that there actually weren't any lesbian relationships in Mass Effect 2.
I don't actually know, but
I can't. I never.
There
looked it
were
up
in
myself.
1 for sure.
Yeah, I know, but with the ASCII, right?
Yeah.
But like, somebody I work with said like they had looked up the matrix of relationships and that there were no female relationships in Mass Effect 2. That could be inaccurate. But anyway, I don't know. I mean, the thing that I could see, the rationale I could see for it is just that they didn't want to make any of the secondary characters be explicitly bisexual, which having the choice to have a relationship with them as either a male or female shepherd would pretty plainly, imply. And I don't know if that's any more valid of a choice than anything else, but
well, they could have a bisexual character, a lesbian character, and a gay character without changing the scope really at all. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. I think that's kind of lame. I mean, in Dragon Age, they do support, I don't know, all the combinations, I guess.
Yeah.
And it does seem like sort of a tacit endorsement of, not really, I don't mean to imply BioWare as being political or anything like that. I don't at all. But it is, I don't know. To me, it is sort of a noticeable omission in a game where they make such a big deal about how you can do this and how you can choose these romances and how that's such a crucial part of telling a story. And I don't know.
No, I mean, I don't think there's any reason, like, it would probably be more interesting for there just to be an outright gay character that you can only have a relationship with if you're of the same sex.
I agree. I think that's much better than the sort of like everyone's bisexual thing, which is mostly how games handle it.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason not to, because I mean, if you play as one or the other gender, you're already locked out of half of the thing. And in any given playthrough, you can only follow through on one. So, I don't know. Anyway.
Yep.
Anyway,
they're free
there's
to
that.
They should do that. Mass Effect 3.
Everything's gay dudes everywhere.
The Ballad of Gay Shepherd.
Yeah. All right.
Parentheses, if you want him to be gay.
That's the subtitle?
Yeah. What's the subtitle?
Oh, right. Tom Sumer writes, Dear the Idle Thumbs Podcast. Dear the Idle Thumbs Internet Podcast, cast on the internet. Okay, I'm not going to read this. I'm sorry.
I appreciate it.
It's good to have you back, he concludes. Thanks, buddy. Carl Howard
that was
writes,
the entire thing.
Yeah.
Good work. I like it.
It went on a lot longer than that. I didn't. Yeah. Carl Howard writes, Hey, guys.
Hello.
Here's a Dreamcast prior to the real mail. Basically, I had a
I thought
dream.
you were trying to discourage these.
Okay, fine.
You want Dreamcast? I don't know.
Let's hear his dream.
Sure.
I had a dream last night where I was walking down an office, and as I was running down a corridor holding my laptop, I was playing Spelunky. Who would I run into but the father of new game journalism himself, Kieran Gillen? Not knowing what to say, I yelled out, There's so many games! To which he laughed and said, Dude, I know!
Did he say it in like his British accent?
Probably he did. This guy's also from England. So. This is the guy I played Dawn of War with. He adds, Regardless, I think you should talk about Dawn of War 2, Chaos Rising, or Last Stand.
Okay.
I did that. I read your mind. Keep up the stellar work, guys. Carl, Manchester, England. That'd be sweet if that was his name. Carl M.
Manchester.
England. Yeah.
Carl Manchester, England.
That's a good name.
That would be good.
I'm from England.
Manchester, England.
Fletcher Arnett writes.
Fletcher Arnett, England writes.
F.E. England writes IGN.fox. Okay. Hey there, Thumbs. I just figured I'd point out this amazing fact that Fox News, which has a weekly gaming show on Hulu, is the mainstream media equivalent of an IGN quote, because today I was linked to a video that consisted of the following: E3 2009, the future of gaming, Microsoft will blow your mind. That's it. That's the entire title and description. See for yourself, and then he links it. I should point out it's not worth watching, but the title made me laugh. Maybe listeners will laugh too. Insert overused outro to email here. Fletcher.
Sweet.
Also, this reminds me, Nick linked me to a CNN review of Oblivion from like 2006 or whatever, and the headline was, new RPG Oblivion will blow you away.
It will blow you away. CNN.
Wolf Blitzer says,
In this room, his situation room.
I put 80 hours into this sweet RPG. And then the thieves had glass armor. 4 out of 5 stars.
Sorry.
That's the mail.
If you want to send us an email, write to questions@idlethumbs.net.
Yeah. Also join our forums and hang out with dudes.
Yep.
Play a game. Hang out with lots of dudes in Mass Effect 3, the Idle Thumbs forums.
What was the alternate thing the
Gay
phone number
Shepherd.
was?
What?
Instead of 55 Wizard on?
55 Wizard no. Oh,
No.
it's a Remo or
So
something?
it was 55Y Remo or Remo Y?
Y-A Remo?
It must be
Y a Remo.
Y a Remo.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, so if you call 55Y a Remo, that's WHYAREMO, you will get our video.
Which we haven't, we
James.
still haven't checked
No, we
in
haven't.
like months.
Keep calling it. We want to see if we
Okay.
can fill it up.
So call 55 Wizard on.
We're not actually asking you to do that because we're probably not going to hear it. You can if you want.
You can
But-
check it. We could check it right now if we like, want.
Well, we're not going to.
We're
Oh,
not
okay.
actually going to.
That makes sense.
We'll check it later.
Someday.
Yeah. If you actually want your thing together on the show, send it to questions@idlethumbs.net.
Yep.
But record it in the form of a voicemail that you would have left
That's
on 55
not
Wizard.
what you're going to do. I'm just going to tell you right up front.
No, sort of Portal style. The Idle Thumbs website is going to
Yeah,
arbitrarily have WAV
If you
files.
construct for us a complicated ARG and seed it into a Valve game, we will definitely read it on the show or include your
And
audio.
if you're
clip.
doing that, part of it could be included in the Wizard on voicemail system.
Yes,
we
that's
might
fine.
not find that part though. So make that not be critical path of your ARG.
Okay. Did you guys get all this? I mean, I don't know. We'll publish these rules on our blog, maybe.
Yes, void where prohibited,
Yeah, except in Nebraska.
where it's allowed.
Video game. Idle Thumbs was recorded in front of a live studio audience at Rad Badger Games. Rad Badger Games.
Rad Badger.
I remember when I was growing up, I was always completely baffled by those like radio stings where I'm just like, what are they doing? 91X rock. Like, I'm just, what are they doing? Why are they doing that? What does someone sit there and like take? Because I didn't have any conception of how that was made. In fact, I still kind of don't. Like,
So we should make an Idle Thumbs bumper that is that.
yeah, idle thumb.
Day of the Tentacle.
Suck a cock.
I do not plan to.
Well, that's the
I don't
third.
think I have that game.
Suck a cock. So we got Full Throttle, Day of the Tentacle, GOG, Suck a Cock, Half-Life Platinum Edition. Oh, I skipped Grim Fandango. Sorry, Grim Fandango.
All right.
It's March 3rd, 2010, and this is the Idle Thumbs Podcast, Episode 3.
And I'm Chris Remo.
That's Jake Rodkin.
Sorry. It went on a little long, and then I just kept going.
Okay.
I hate your mints.
I'm sorry, Jake.
I hate you.
I have no sympathy.
Boost Remo.
Is that you?
Oh, shit.